Our story. I'm a mom for three boys, 13, 7, and 3. It started with my middle child, 7 years old. 3 years ago, we started noticing that his skin color getting darker without returning to its natural white. He was white. And by asking the doctors, the family doctor, he said he's sensitive to the sun. Okay, this was at the very beginning, and then later and later I went again to another doctor, the same, sensitive to the sun. What about the areas that not exposed to the sun? He said, yeah, his skin is sensitive, so maybe from the friction from sitting long times or something. Okay. What about the other symptoms? He has nausea most of the time. The times he's in a off mood, and also he doesn't want to play sports, even riding the bikes. And he said, I can't. He never say I can't. He usually say I don't like. So the doctors were saying, because maybe he had middle child syndrome, and this was to us somehow logic, because I had my youngest at this time. I had recently my youngest boy, and I noticed that he's very jealous from his baby brother. So they said he wants to attract your attention by all of this stuff. So we thought it makes sense. Until my sister-in-law, she's an audiologist. She's smart, very smart audiologist actually. She came to us for a visit, and once she'd seen him, she said, I have a doubt that he has a very rare disease called Addison's disease that I've studied a long time ago at the School of Medicine in Egypt. I told her, no, they told me that he's sensitive to the sun. She said so because she saw his skin color. She said, what about the lips? At this time, his lips was bluish dark, and his gums also. She said, this is not logic that the sun affects the lips and the gums. I told her, okay, so what is required? She told me what I know, cortisol, to check his cortisol level, because I'm not specialist, but you have to tell your doctor. I went to the family doctor and told him that I have a doubt that he has Addison's disease, and I want cortisol blood work immediately. And thanks to him, he requested the blood work, and he also referred us to a pediatrician. The pediatrician has the same doubt, and the blood work at this time came normal from this lab. This was unlucky for us that it was normal, and we've been referred to one of the famous children's hospitals in North America, where they physically examined him for a long time and checked all of his blood work, and they told me, your son is healthy boy, you don't require even follow-up appointments. Now I know why the mistake was, because we've been referred to pediatrician in this hospital, not to pediatric endocrinologist. So at this time, I was quite sure there's something wrong. And so my mom, she was in Egypt, so she took all of the blood work and the photos before, when he was a baby and in his white skin, and recently, and to a pediatric endocrinologist, well-known one in Egypt, and she told her 90% this kid have Addison's disease, and I'm not sure that this blood work is correct, the results are correct, and also there is a missing blood work to be done. It's called ACTH. At this time, I went to a friend, family doctor, thanks to her support, and she requested ACTH and cortisol. I changed the laboratory, and then the result came. The cortisol level is low, and the ECTH is over 400. However, the normal is supposed to be less than 14. So my mom returned back to the pediatric endocrinologist in Egypt and told her, should they come to Egypt for the treatment or something? She told no. She told her they have to start hydrocortisone immediately because in case of adrenal crisis, this is life-threatening disease, and in case of any adrenal crisis, he have to be administered by Solocortef injection immediately. And we started the journey of adrenal insufficiency. Then we've been referred to pediatric endocrinologist here in Canada, and I asked her, what is the reason for this? Why my son have this adrenal insufficiency or Addison's disease? I've never heard about it. Is it inherited or what? So she told me I request for some blood work, and from here we will know why he has it. What I learned that adrenal insufficiency or Addison's disease, 90% come from autoimmune, and this can be checked by adrenal antibodies. So for my son, it was okay, the adrenal antibodies. However, the very long chain of fatty acids was very high, and it was all red and high. And at the end of the blood work result, it said a statement suggestive for X-linked adrenoleukodystrophy. Oh, what's this word? So I started to ask the doctors that I know. They said, we've never heard about this. I started to Google it, and it was horrible what I've read about it. Then I returned to the pediatric endocrinologist to a children's hospital here. I told him this horrible disease, please tell me what should be done. He told me, I can tell you about adrenal insufficiency only, but I will refer you to metabolic specialist, and I will request for MRI, brain MRI. At the beginning, I had a brain MRI in May 2023. However, all of this was like October 2022. And the metabolic specialist appointment, it was by the end of December 2022. I was shocked and I was very scared. What shall I do? I heard about horrible disease that my son have, and I don't know how come that I will wait all of this time and maybe he will not make it or something. I was confused. I started sending emails. I started reaching out every person I know or a friend until I met a doctor that helped me into this, and she was working in the same hospital of the specialist, and I had the MRI and the specialist soon, and the specialist appointment soon, after like a couple of weeks or so. Metabolic specialist, she told me that most probably you are the carrier, and your other two boys have to be checked genetically, and we will check also your middle son to make sure, genetic test to make sure that he is that he has adrenoleukodystrophy, and he was positive, and they checked his brain. His MRI was normal. Then there was the shock when the result of my other two boys came. My eldest boy has also adrenoleukodystrophy and on the borderline of adrenal insufficiency. However, he's a healthy boy, very active. And then after having his MRI, they discovered that they have some misleading actually changes in his white matter. Here he was eligible for bone marrow transplant. Actually, for the metabolic specialist, she's very supportive and caring, but she told me at the beginning that both of them have to go to do the bone marrow transplant. However, it's very complicated and risky, and it can activate even the disease, but we have to do it immediately or as soon as possible, or we will regret. And for my elder son, we've been referred to bone marrow transplant specialist. At this visit, he explained everything related to the bone marrow transplant. Then I asked him, how often do you do this bone marrow transplant for the ALD patients? He replied that they've done it a lot to cancer patients, to other diseases, but if he meets one ALD patient every couple of years, this is too much. So I presume that there isn't that much experience with this disease. And at this time, I've been in contact with a lovely mom. She reached me out through the ALD groups. Canadian mom who have done the bone marrow transplant in the States. And she let me contact one of the ALD specialists, a very wonderful, actually, doctor there in the States. I've sent him both MRIs, and he told me both of them they don't need now. They are not eligible for bone marrow transplant, only needing monitoring by MRI every 6 months, because the findings in my eldest brain is not related to ALD. I was relieved, but still to have the peace of mind completely. We traveled to Kennedy Krieger Institute in Baltimore in the States to have them both physically examined and to check their MRI. And there, another ALD specialist told me the same. And I've sent to ALD specialists in Germany, France, all the same words. They are not eligible for bone marrow transplant at the moment, and hopefully never. And only they will need monitoring every 6 months by MRI. And this is our case now.